that from the Chinese perspective, UK is not an enemy, not a competitor, not a rival, and China doesn't care about what's happening inside the British system. China is laser focused on the United States. And
The Times has been told that Keir Starmer is resisting pressure to place China on a new risk list of dangerous countries. That pressure has grown after all the coverage of Yang Tengbo. He is a Chinese businessman, previously known only as H6, who had a long-standing relationship with Prince Andrew. The Home Office said they believed H6 had been engaged in covert and deceptive activity on behalf of the CCP. In response, Yang Tengbo has said, "When relations are good, I'm welcome in the UK. When relations are bad, I am excluded." Let's speak to Victor Gao, who is Vice President of the Beijing-based Centre for China and Globalisation. Good morning to you.
good morning.
There's a lot of information about Yang Tengbo and how he first came to this country. I think he was studying initially, how he got indefinite leave to remain. It's a very full picture of him. You obviously know him too, perhaps in, I don't know exactly how. How would you describe Yang Tengbo?
Thank you very much for having me. I've known Mr. Yang Tengbo for a minimum of 10 years, mostly at public events in Beijing and also in London. Mr. Yang has consistently impressed me with his commitment to promoting China-UK friendship and people-to-people and corporate-to-corporate exchanges. And he seems to be very well connected in Britain, but I think his connections are mostly for better relations between our two countries. And the news from London came as a complete surprise to me. I don't think any of the charges against Mr. Yang could be backed up with legally acceptable evidence. And I hope the UK government will really do a thorough job in gathering enough evidence to see whether Mr. Yang is really involved in what he is accused of.
Okay.
I personally will be completely shocked and surprised if Mr. Yang would ever be engaged in things like that, because he seems to be a very genuine person, always committed to do things for the Chinese companies as well as the British companies. And he seems to be a good bridge between our two countries. And now to see him and his reputation being ruined is such a tragedy. And I hope China and Britain can really do better things rather than wasting such a great asset.
Well, let's look at the why this decision has been taken. There were judges at an immigration tribunal in London last week ruled that the Home Secretary was entitled to conclude that Yang represented a risk to the national security when he was banned from returning to London. The tribunal was also told that Yang enjoyed an unusual degree of trust with Prince Andrew. Now, Prince Andrew, when he was told about the risk, ceased contact, and as we've referred to already, Mr. Yang has been barred from coming to the UK. So clearly, we don't know what the evidence is, but there is some evidence.
As a matter of fact, I was actually participating in one of the major events held in Beijing when Prince Andrew was actually warmly welcomed. According to my personal observation, Prince Andrew was welcomed as a friend, as a very distinguished member of the royal family, and who is also very eager to promote China-UK friendship. I would say promoting China-UK understanding and friendship in itself is not a bad thing. It is actually what our two great nations and two peoples really need, especially at this critical moment. And if the UK authority really have evidence, I hope they will really come up with the evidence to back up with the accusations, because otherwise it will be a very unfair and very tragic episode in China-UK relations. And I make these points based on my firm belief that from the Chinese perspective, UK is not an enemy, not a competitor, not a rival, and China doesn't care about what's happening inside the British system. China is laser focused on the United States and on the United States only.
Okay. Security services specifically were concerned, Victor Gao, about Mr. Yang, because they say they allege that he is an agent for the United Front Work Department, that he's not alone. I think it's Ian Duncan Smith who say there are many other people whom he believes are also doing the same thing. And so that's the specific concern that was raised by security services in this country. So you don't believe that he's working for the United Front Work Department?
I think such an accusation and conclusion represents a complete misunderstanding of the Chinese system. The United Front is a part of the Communist Party system, but it really interacts with non-party members. That means the people to be focused upon Party United Front inside China are either members of the 8 other democratic parties or people without affiliation. Do you really believe that for China's national security, they will be done by these people who are not members of the Communist Party, who are not the core members of the Communist Party, but rather, non-affiliated political figures or members of the other democratic parties? I think the interpretation and the understanding of the United Front and its role to be played either inside China or outside of China is completely misplaced.
Okay. One other important question. Since Yang Tengbo's, his name had been in the ether, people kind of knew about it. It was officially named yesterday. Since this has happened, have you spoken to him?
No, I haven't met him for many years, probably ever since the pandemic. And before the pandemic, whenever we met, it's always at public places, receptions, welcoming ceremonies, etc. And we did get along. And I think I was deeply impressed by his eagerness and tirelessness in promoting China-UK relations. For many years, I'm personally convinced that what he's doing is for the good of China as well as Britain. And he really spared no time in bringing the best part of Britain to China and also encouraging Chinese investors to go invest in Britain.
As Victor Gao, who's the vice president of the Beijing-based Center for China and Globalization.